Welcome back, everybody. In this video, we are going to continue our analysis of Hudson County, New Jersey. In the last video, we did a current economic base analysis. And in this video, we are going to do two things. We're going to do a future economic base analysis, and we're going to do a future supply and demand analysis for Hudson County, New Jersey. So what do I mean by future economic base analysis? I mean, we're going to find out how many jobs, specifically basic jobs that are bringing money from outside of the market into the market, how many of those jobs are coming into the market? Because those are the jobs we care about. We care about the companies that are bringing outside money into the market and then paying their employees with that money, who are then spending that money in the local economy, because that's what drives the economy, economic growth, everything like that. So we want to find out how many jobs like that are coming to the market. And I did a little bit of research to find what we have coming in the next 24 months or so. And if I can just pull up what I have right here, just ignore this here. But the first thing that I found here was that we have, sorry, not that. Where is it? Where is it? So we found out here recently on October 29th, it was released that Paramount, the production company that makes movies and things like that, they signed a 10-year deal for a big space in Bayonne, New Jersey, which is in Hudson County, New Jersey. And they're going to be conducting film business at the 1888 studios, as we can see here. And initially, when I looked into this, the industry that the company was in actually showed that it was not an export sector industry, meaning it was not going to be bringing in money from outside the market. But just using my own judgment, I know that Paramount is not just doing local business here. If Paramount is signing a lease on a big place like this, they're going to be making content that is going to be, monetized and creating revenue that is coming from outside of the market and then into the Hudson County market. So these jobs are export sector. And based on the research from what I've been reading, this is expected to create around 2,100 new jobs. So that is our assumption. 2,100 new export sector jobs are coming to Hudson County in hopefully the next 24 months or so. So that's the first thing. The second thing that we need to understand is how many deliveries are coming to Hudson County, how many new apartments are coming to Hudson County in the next 24 months or so. So the number that I'm going to show you right now is probably less than what it actually is, but I was only able to find 3 different resources to see what new apartments are being delivered in the next 24 months or so. So the first thing that we have is we have this 1,300 unit Jersey City project that is going to be coming out. That it's just proposed, it's not done yet, and it seems to be expected to be done in the next 24 months or so. So that's 1,300. And then we have Lions Group Lands, also doing another one in Jersey City. So we have a lot coming in Jersey City. This one is 360 units. And then we have another one here, also in Jersey City, that is going to be 210 rental units they're going to be creating. So again, these are just 3 articles. The amount of deliveries coming to Hudson County, New Jersey is probably much larger than that. But we're just going to stick with these 3 things. Now, let's go into all of our assumptions. And I actually already plugged them into our little model that we have here to do future economic base and future supply and demand. So just to recap our current economic base, current demand supply, we know that we have 756,648 total population, 9,378 group quarters. We subtract those two, and that will give us our actual population. And then if we take our actual population and divide it by the people per household, that will give us the amount of current households that we have in the market. Okay, so we found that out. The next thing that we want to do is we want to plug in, okay, so how many new export sector jobs are coming to Hudson County, New Jersey? We saw from our research that Paramount is bringing about 2,100, not an exact amount of jobs, but 2,100 is what was announced. So that's the amount that we plugged into our model here, right? So basically what we do with this 2,100 is we want to find out how many new total jobs are these new export sector jobs going to create inside of the local market. So how do we do that? We take our 2,100 and we multiply it by our economic base multiplier, which we know from the last video is 5.23, which means that for every export sector job that comes to Hudson County, there is going to be 5 jobs that are created with that export sector job. So that we can see why these export sector jobs are really creating economic growth. So if we take our 2,100 and multiply it by 5.23, that will bring us to the new total jobs of 10,982. The next thing that we need to do with that information is we need to find out for all of those jobs, for all of those new employed people, how many people are they bringing with them? So we're going to take our new total jobs, we're going to multiply it by our population employment ratio, which we know in Hudson County is 3.25. So each one of these people is bringing 3.25 people with them on average. And that's going, if we multiply those two things, it's going to give us a future population of 35,727. Now we can basically just reverse engineer this and do the same thing that we did for the current economic base analysis. And we can say, okay, well, we have 35,727. Now, how many households do we have out of that? So if we take our future population, 35,727, and we divide it by the people per household, that's going to give us a number. It kind of just added it to the total future households, pretty much. It went from current households to total future households. So that looks to be about 15,000 or so, 15,000. So it looks like 15,000 households, as we can see here, are being added based on the future population of 35,727, which, as you can see right here, was added to 756,648 to create a new total population of 792,375. And then, of course, we need to subtract out group quarters. But then, after we have our new future households, we need to find out what is our renters that are going to be included in that new future households. And the way that we do that is we use our tenure, which we know is 66%. That's Hudson County's renter ratio is about 66%. So it would be 313,199 times 66%. And then what this is doing here, we're basically saying that there's going to be a 7% vacancy or 93% occupancy. And the reason we do that is because we never want a market to be 100% occupied. That wouldn't be good. It would cause a situation where people can no longer move into the market. Prices become super expensive, and ultimately it just causes a big problem. So we always want to have vacancy. 7% vacancy is a normal, healthy market. So that would get us, if we factor in vacancy and if we multiply the total future households by the tenure, 66%, that will get us about total future rental households of approximately 222,270 future rental households. Okay. The next thing that we want to do is figure out our future supply. So How do we do that? Basically, we know that there are total housing units from our last video, as we saw in the data, 332,856 total housing units in Hudson County, New Jersey. And the renter occupied units, we know, based on our renter ratio of 66%, if we multiply this number by 66%, that gives us 219,685 renter units. And then we know from the last video as well that 8.6% of this 332,856 is vacant. So if we add our renter ratio to that and only look at the amount of renter units that are vacant, that would give us 18,893 vacant rental units, which gives us total rental units of 238,578. The way that we got that is we took the total future renter households of 222,270, and then we added our rental vacant units of 18,893, which gives us our total rental units in the market. And now the thing that we need to do next actually is we need to find out, okay, because we're going to maybe potentially add to this for future. We know that we had our new constructions that are coming to Jersey City. We saw 3 of them. It's probably more. Hudson County has a lot of development going on. I live in Weehawken, New Jersey right now, and I see new construction happening right in front of my eyes. I just couldn't find it on Google, but we know that a lot of new development is coming to Hudson County for sure. So 1870 is the number that we calculated when we took those 3 new developments and we added up all of the units that are coming. So that would give us a total future rental supply of 240,448. And this is likely going to be higher than that. Okay. But the thing is, even at this number, if we look here at our total future renter household, 222,270, that's our future demand. If we look at our future rental supply, 240,448, we are in oversupply of 18,178. That's huge, considering that this number here, the future rental supply, should be higher than this number actually is. Now, of course, down here, we would also want to take into consideration, what has actually been delivered in the last 12 months. What is the absorption? Like end of year, the amount of units that are occupied minus the beginning of year, how many units are occupied, are more, that would tell us, are more people moving into the market or more people moving out from the market. And then we would compare that number, whether positive or negative, to the amount of deliveries that are happening in the market to determine if we're in a massive oversupply or if the amount of demand that's in the market is keeping up with the supply that's coming to the market. Okay. But we can make an assumption here that that's probably not happening. It's probably very likely, and I see it with my own eyes because I see a lot of apartments that are just sitting vacant for a long time in Hudson County, and this right here probably is the reason why. There's too much supply and there's not enough demand to keep up with that supply. Even when we took 2,100 new basic export sector jobs that are coming to the market, it's still an oversupply in the future. This is future. Remember, currently it is in oversupply. I think when we looked at it, I believe it was 27,000 units. If we look at it now in the future, it's still not good. Okay. But yeah, this down here, we would look at households with one person, households with children, and that would be able to tell us if there's a gap or an oversupply for future one bedroom, future two bedroom units. But I don't currently have the data for that right now, so I'm going to post a new video of that, and maybe we're going to find out, like, this is interesting here, if there is demand for two bedrooms in Hudson County, because that's what it's saying here, but I need to dig into that a little bit. But for now, what we understand, Hudson County is oversupplied even in the future, according to the information that we have now. Now, I need to call economic development to figure out if they know of any new jobs, new companies that are export sector that are coming to the market. And I have tried to do that. They just haven't gotten back to me on that yet. And then I will also try to call the planning commission to find out exactly how many units are actually under construction to see if they will give me that information. So I will make a follow-up video as soon as possible on this information. Thank you guys for watching.